You're listening to the Morning Punchin' Show with RB and J, live and direct from more cities than an Instagram model's bio. Get ready for some boxing talk on the clock. Let's face it, you're not working and somebody's got to pay for the Wi-Fi.
Good morning, everybody. It's RB and J. This is the Morning Punchin' Show, the most unpredictable, always real morning boxing talk show in the game. Today is Monday, October 16, 2017, and our guest on the Hotline Bling today is IBF Junior Middleweight Champion Jarret Hurd. This is, of course, your girl, Jay. If you're new to the Morning Punchin' Show, I'm the creator and founder of BadCulture.net and regular boxing contributor to Black Sports Online and a few other places, too. It's fight week for my illustrious co-host, Raging Babe. RB will not be with us this morning. As you know, if you follow her in social media, she is in Durham, North Carolina, preparing for her fight card under her fight banner. So kudos and walk through and getting all set up for fight week. So if you are in the Durham, North Carolina area, make sure that you go out and check out RB, support this upcoming talent. There is a state title on the line on Thursday night, and just support your girl. Send her your good wishes, your good vibes, your good tweets, and all the good energy you can muster up on this Monday morning. But again, we are here to hold down the fort while she is away. I'll be joined by Jake Donovan at the 10-minute mark so we can talk a little Jake's Take, and we've got a full agenda on the show today. Not only are we going to be recapping the weekend fight action, we had fights on Friday night, courtesy of Golden Boy Promotions from Indio, California. We'll talk about, I'll recap that fight briefly. And we also had Saturday fight from Wembley, England. The World Boxing Super Series is continuing there with the super middleweights now taking center stage. The cruiserweights are still going, but super middleweights took center stage this weekend. We'll talk about the fight Saturday night from Carson, California, where I was in the house, Leo Santa Cruz and Abner Maris on separate bouts. So we'll get into a little bit of that. Also on Saturday night, fights from Brooklyn, New York, with victories by Jarret Hurd, Jermell Charlo, and Erislandy Lara. But again, we'll talk more about that. Jake Donovan is going to jump on with me to tackle some really terrific topics on today's Jake Takes. Jake will be weighing in on the World Boxing Super Series and what needs to happen at the 154 mark, what's holding the Charlos back. So we'll have a little banter. And at 8:30, we will be joined by the champ himself, the IBF champ himself, Jarret Hurd. If you recall, if you're a longtime listener of the Morning Punchin' Show, we honored Jarret at our year-end show at the end of 2016 as a fighter who was on the rise. So it'll be great to catch up with him to talk about his victory over Austin Trout. Hard-fought victory. Saw some pictures of him in social media this morning or yesterday morning with some cuts above the brow line, so definitely we'll get into that. Before we get into recapping the fights for the weekend, why don't I take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, I'll recap Friday night's fights from Indio, California, courtesy of Golden Boy Promotions.
For all the latest news, interviews, and boxing schedules, visit BoxingInsider.com, providing readers with everything from the latest fight schedules to interviews with your favorite boxers. BoxingInsider.com has you covered from top to bottom. BoxingInsider.com is looking for new writers. Think you have what it takes to join the team? Submit your articles to our team at info@BoxingInsider.com. Visit BoxingInsider.com today, the only boxing website where you become the fifth man in the corner. When the mind is ready, the body prepares for war. So next time you engage in battle, protect your hands with the best. War Tape, the original branded tape. Order yours now at wartapebrand.com and see why the enemy will fear you. wartapebrand.com. We put hands on you.
Quick shout out to our sponsors, Boxing Insider and War Tape Brand this morning. Thank you for continuing to support the Morning Punchin' Show and making us a partner with you. It is a pleasure to continue on, but let's talk about these fights. Unfortunately, it was such a crazy, busy fight weekend. I didn't get to see every single fight this weekend. I saw the fights on both coasts. Real quick before Jake Donovan joins us at 8:10. Friday night from ESPN from Indio, California. That's out here near Palm Springs. Ismael Barroso knocked out Fidel Maldonado Jr. with a killer body shot in the 6th round in a junior welterweight action at the Fantasy Springs Casino. So he continues his march towards prominence with a victory over Fidel Maldonado. Also this weekend on the Golden Boy card, Marcelino Nino Lopez stopped Mexico's Pablo Cesar Cano at the 227 mark of the 2nd round of their scheduled 10-round fight. It was a barn burner, I'm sure, for the folks out in Indio, California. Once again, I didn't get a chance to see that fight because I've been ripping and running all week with what was going on here in Los Angeles or in Carson, California. So that is what I have for the Golden Boy results. So stay tuned, Golden Boy. When I talked the last time I had a chance to speak with Oscar De La Hoya, he promised that there would be more things coming before the close of the year as we enter into the last quarter of 2017. We look to hear more on the Golden Boy promotion side. And, you know, we got some, in case you missed it, regarding Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy and people they're trying to side and the moves they're trying to make, but we'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. Right now, I think it's a good time to bring on Jake Donovan for a little bit of Jake's take so he can help me recap all of these fights because we've got a lot to get through, and it's always a good time being with Jake.
You're rocking with the Morning Punching Show with RB and J, and now it's time for Jake's Take.
Good morning, Jay. Good morning, Jay. How are you?
I am excellent. I got my coffee. For the people who probably tuned in right at the top of the hour, they probably thought, where is this woman at? I had to get my coffee. Y'all deserve it on Tuesday. Had to take my kids to school and the whole nine. But what's good with you, Jake Donovan?
Not just trying to get stuff done. RB, shout out to our girl Michelle. She's getting stuff done in Durham. Looking forward to seeing her on Thursday. Watching that North Carolina welterweight title fight. Yep.
That's right. It is a good time for her. Very proud of her. Please, 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 if you are in the Durham area, go out and support this card. It is a great card. There's some great talent. In addition to the people from Durham there, Hasim Rahman is on the card. And I think I saw the kid, Darmani Rock from Rock Nation. Looks like he's on this card. At least that's what was listed on ESPN. But kudos to my girl, RB. And we will give another recap about her fight at the end of the hour. But Jake Donovan, we got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about here. Shall we begin with Saturday night from Hub, Saturday night from Barclays, or do you want to jump into the World Boxing Super Series first?
I guess we can go in chronological order and then discuss the World Boxing Super Series. It's always a fun topic to discuss. Another fantastic fight from the series. So far, of every weekend where there's been a World Boxing Super Series entry, really the only thinker of the bunch has been Freitas and Perez, which we kind of figured was going to be just based on styles. George Groves and Jamie Cox, a nice domestic battle, a little domestic rivalry they had. Roommates back in the amateurs. Groves called Cox out by name, saying he wanted him just because he was familiar with him and he thought it'd be a fun matchup, and he was right. I mean, 3 rounds. This was one hell of a fight. I mean, these guys, they really want that trophy, and, it's more about that, just getting bragging rights on each other in the ring. Jamie Cox, I mean, it was a huge step up in class for him. He held his own as well as he could for 3 rounds, then he just got doubled over by that brutal body shot from George Groves, and that ended the fight in 4th round. Very fun fight, really enjoyed it. It's another fight. I think it's the second time in like 3 or 4 weeks where there's been like a massive fight in the crowd, taking place in England. It's really unfortunate. I mean, these wild brawls are going on. I think it happened with at the Parker Fury fight as well, not necessarily World Boxing Super Series related, but this one, it's got to get some crowd control over there in England. I mean, there was I was told I don't know if there was weapons involved, but it's just getting crazy, and it's really taken away from the stuff that's taking place in the ring. Because as brutal as the action was with Groves and Cox, they were really good sports about it. And yeah, Jamie Cox, for a guy who just got knocked out, he said, appreciated the opportunity. Glad that, he was able to put on the show that he did, and he congratulated Groves. And Groves, thanked him for giving him a hell of a fight. So that's what you want to see from a fight. Other than the fights in the crowd, this one actually had good atmosphere. So it was nice to see for that for World Boxing Super Series because they're really trying hard. It just seems like some of the main events they had, like trying to stretch out 8 fights into 8 main events was, my personal opinion, it should have been condensed into 4. Maybe you pair up like certain matchups. I said, like, with Gassiev and Wlodarczyk, which takes place this weekend, that could have been paired up with Dorticos and Kudryashov instead of spreading those two things. Because I don't see either one of them being very big box office booms. But for Groves and Clark, it was nice to see George Groves get a win like this. He's always going to be in a tough fight, given his style, kind of like our guest coming up, Jarret Hurd. Just the type of guys that no matter how often they keep winning, they're going to keep getting hit. And, they're always going to look like they're in trouble until they cross the finish line. So it's always fun to watch George Groves. He now moves on to fight Chris Eubank Jr., who, of course, is my pick to win it all. In my opinion, that's the very best matchup as far as any semifinal matchup that could be made. That fight should have been a championship fight. It's a shame that it's working out where they're going to be in the semis. But, congratulations to George Groves. Groves and Eubank had their stare down. The trash talk has already begun. So I'm really looking forward to when they fight. I believe it's going to take place in late January in England on, I believe, ITV Box Office.
It's so funny with Chris Eubank Jr. I always, when I look at him, he's very, very into his son, and I appreciate that. Father-son trainer duos, sometimes they work, sometimes they do. In this instance, it looks like it's working. But whenever I see him, I laughed at a recent video where we saw him wave off like a ring girl who wanted to, just step into the shot. So at this point, can we call Chris Eubank Sr., can we call him the LeVar Ball of boxing?
I like that. Yeah, it's they're a fun bunch. Chris Eubank Senior has always been a very interesting character, and Junior seems to be falling right in line as well.
Yeah, Pops gave me the wave off in Vegas during Mayweather-McGregor weekend. I was trying to slip in and get a quick interview with Ice Cube, and he was like, I'm like, oh, okay, well, all right. He's not a boxer, but okay, cool. Well, let's move on. Let's keep it going.
I'm sorry. Okay, so I guess we go to Austin, California next week. You can speak way more elaborately on that than I can. But the event was what it was. We all wanted to see Santa Cruz and Mares. At least, as far as if they had to fight next, it should have been against each other. There hasn't been really a great demand for the rematch. And I'm not sure anything we saw on Saturday night kind of enticed that. You could speak more to the crowd that was on hand on TV. It didn't look like it was very robust. As far as the matchup.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm a big fan of going to the StubHub Arena, and I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. When the first broadcast fight started, I think we could have done that whole fight in, like, the Bonaventure Ballroom. Like, we really could have done it like a club show because there was nobody there. And it's not a knock on the promo. I'm not knocking you. I'm just stating the facts. I have pictures. Right. Other people tweeted pictures during the show. But it was just terribly empty in there. I know a lot of people citing competing factors. We got the Dodgers that are playing in the series right now here in LA. USC was also playing on the same day. But at the same time, LA is a big city. There's a cajillion people who live here. And if people want to turn out and come to the fight, they will. And the fact is, it wasn't there.
Yeah, it's a shame, too, because if we did get Santa Cruz and Mares, that would have been a main event that Showtime would have, they would have supplied a license fee. So it could have taken place later in the evening where, you give yourself a much better chance of building an audience. Saturday afternoon for boxing, it's just, that's just really a tough ask. I think even if it was that matchup that was going to be on Fox, to get fans to commit to, I guess, 4 o'clock out there, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, that's just, fans just don't show up that early, especially for a fight.
No, hell no, not in L.A. Right. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you're still barely getting rid of your kids for the night. So, no.
Exactly. You don't even have a buzz on yet. Never mind, get loaded enough to go to a fight. So, it's tough. So, because it worked out that way, they had to put the fights on Fox first before it led into Showtime. So, it was weird. We got the West Coast on Fox early, and then we got the Showtime portion on the East Coast very late. So, and, the 3 fights on Showtime were actually, those are the fights they wanted to buy. Everyone's like, those fights should have been on Fox. But it's just not the way it works out. Al's not going to give away 3 premium fights like that. I think it was like a $2 million card that Showtime. Well, I don't know if Showtime paid for it all, but it was like between the 3 fights on TV, the purses were over $2 million. You're not going to put that on Fox and then have a pair of tune-ups on Showtime. So we got stuck with what we got stuck with. Santa Cruz and Mares did everything they had to do. It was weird that Mares had to settle for a decision. He beat the hell out of Andres Gutierrez. I felt bad for the boy.
He did.
Corner kept sounding him out round after round. And, Yeah, I mean, Morris looks. I really like the cohesion between Abner Morris and Robert Garcia. I think it's a really good fit. A much better fit than when he was with Virgil Hunter. No knock on old Verge, but you know, some fighters just aren't meant for that style, and Abner Morris is one of them. He went from one of the best fighters in the world to just.
Yeah, Virgil Hunter's style is not for everybody. When I look at the two of them, how they competed on Saturday night, I thought Morris impressed me more than Leo Santa Cruz did in the way he fought. I was surprised that the other fight went to the scorecards, but I looked at how they competed and how mismatched these fights were, and it made me feel like a little bit for a second like I was getting soft. You know, I watched how Santa Cruz was brutalizing Chris Avalos, and it made me tear up for a second. And I thought, wait a minute, there's no crying in boxing. It was really savage, to be honest.
Yeah, it's horrible. And I'm going to say this about Avalos, not necessarily about him. I like Chris Avalos as a person, but as far as his team goes, I mean, fight after fight, we're seeing this poor kid being, sent out there far too many rounds after he's been already done. I mean, it happened in, I believe it was the Philippines against Mark McStyle. It's just like when your fight is done for the night, man, it's time to just, pump. A fighter is never going to tap. You never want to see a fighter tap out. It's up to the corner, it's up to the referee, the doctor. I was glad that, the referee finally stepped in and just decided to stop the fight. I know Avalos is mad. Members of his team are mad, but this is a guy who, I mean, honestly, he was coming off a very controversial TKO win. A very strong argument that he shouldn't even been there, never mind for a title fight. Even if it was a non-title fight for Santa Cruz, it was still a mismatch. And his corner just kept sending him out round after round. It was just completely unnecessary. That fight could have ended at least 3 rounds earlier. The same could have been said for Martin Gutierrez. Gutierrez caught a break, I guess. Yeah. And, the cut being ruled. The cut was caused by a punch, but they said it was worsened by a headbutt. That's why it went to the scorecards. But either way, I mean, the boy lost big time. And both fights, they really could have ended a lot earlier than they did. So it was just not really what you wanted, especially and between all that and the crowd, I'm not sure we got any more momentum for a rematch than what we got on Saturday. All we got was Jose Santa Cruz wishing that his son had a tune-up before going into, a Barrios rematch. It's understandable. It's not what boxing fans want to hear, but, father knows best in that situation. That's why we got what we got on Saturday. So, hopefully we move forward.
I mean, I hope so, too. Richard Schaefer was pretty adamant in saying that this rematch was going to take place in March. He is very clear that he wants to get the Staples Center for this fight. But if they want the Staples Center for this fight, they're going to have to put a big, nice, hefty card, something underneath it, because the fans, that's a lot of money to go to the Staples Center. The parking, the tickets, what it's going to take to make that a big fight atmosphere. Something's going to need to happen to put that at the Staples Center. All due respect to both fighters, but Saturday night at the StubHub definitely wasn't an indicator of what could happen. And also on the card, Antonio DeMarco for a first round knockout. What's so funny about that card is it was so hot, and I had such a good seat ringside, but I had the misfortune of sitting behind the Fox desk, and they had these big, giant Fox umbrellas up. I ain't even see the knockout. I sat down. I looked up. I went, oh, no, the umbrellas. And then I heard, boom, oh, fight was done. I never even saw it. I had to go to Twitter, and I was sitting right.
Of all fights, I mean, the other 2 fights were as long as they lasted. That was one that could have went longer. That was just a very bizarre stoppage. I mean, Ramirez was hurt. DeMarco was coming on, but it was the first round. I mean, he was barely shook, in my opinion. That was, I don't know. It's like really the whole night should have gone that way, and that fight should have went at least 2 or 3 rounds. But
shit.
And it's not even the type of fight. I mean, I feel bad for Ramirez because, he's gonna want revenge, but it's not like you really are clamoring for a Ramirez DeMarco rematch. You almost want to see DeMarco get a bigger opportunity than have to fight a prospect once again.
I think that I saw somebody tweet this meme, and I thought it was pretty funny. For those who are old like me and Jake, somebody tweeted this meme of Inspector Gadget sitting, not Inspector Gadget, the bad guy on Inspector Gadget with the cat. They said Al Heyman was sitting at the button and said, you got to make sure these fights end enough time for the Showtime card to start. And so that's why the fight ended so soon. The other 2 went 8 rounds. So we had to make sure we finished just in time to watch that Showtime fight. Isn't that great how that happened? Yeah. God bless God.
Oh, yeah.
So, on the West Coast here, West Coast definitely in the coast-to-coast matchup battle. The West Coast took an L this week. We didn't do a prediction war, but did we really need a prediction war for the West Coast fight?
No.
Off last week, taking a little week off, but So, yeah, let's swing it on over to the East Coast, the fight that more people are talking about this weekend than what's going on here in L.A. Let's get into it, Jake Donovan.
Yeah, definitely. And this really gets into my what I want to discuss this week, was what needs to happen with the 154-pound division. This was the perfect card to set up what absolutely needs to happen. I mean, we had 3 really good matchups on paper, even though the main event everyone knew was going to be a stinker, and it turned out to be that way. The fight that I was always intrigued by the most was actually the first fight of the night, Jarret Hurd and Austin Trout. You wanted to see how much Austin Trout had left, if he can, tap into those championship roots. It was going to be a hell of a fight, and it was. It was by far the best fight of the weekend, in my opinion. As good as Grove and Cox was, this was my favorite fight because, like I said, Jarret Hurd is just that type. He's always going to be in an exciting fight up until he gets that win. And the thing I love about him and why I say he's the best 154-pound fighter in the world, at least on potential, maybe not results, he just finds a way to get it done. He always looks like he's like a punch or two away from, the tide turning dramatically and he's going to fall behind, and then boom, he gets you, and he just keeps finding a way to win. Major shout out to our upcoming guest, Jarret Hurd. I know he was, I believe he was dedicating the fight to Coach Roach, who passed away, not Freddie Roach, the coach out in Baltimore who's trained, so many cats through the DMV. He passed away over the weekend, very sad. But I was on his mind. It was just a really good performance by Jarret Hurd. And I want to give a shout out to Louis Burke, too, Austin Trout's longtime trainer. Austin was in that fight, all the way through. He was, at one point looked like he was going to pull it out. Then he just fell behind. He was never going to catch up. He took a bad beating, in the later rounds in 9 and 10. Louis Burke picked up on it, and, he did the right thing. His heart, overcame his mind, and he went in and he stopped the fight. I know Austin wanted to keep going to the bitter end. Louis Burke knew it wasn't going to turn around, and, he told the doctor to stop the fight. It was a very compassionate moment. I really appreciate Louis for looking out for Austin's health. And, Austin's he's one of the good guys of boxing. So it was, I don't know where his career goes from here, but it was kind of like, watching Klitschko fall to Anthony Joshua. It was like, it wasn't so much his defeat, it was the way he went out. It really makes you appreciate what he's brought to the sport, because they're both class acts in and out of the sport. One guy a lot of people will say is not much of a class act. Jamel Charlo, I really wish the Charlo brothers would done that, man. A little bit more class. I appreciate the fact that, they always have a chip on their shoulder. You want that in a boxer. I don't care if a boxer's humble going into a fight. But, once you win, it's like, then it has to be about sportsmanship. And this is part of my Jake take with them. I get why the Charlos are so angry. Someone brought this up, I think even before Jamal Charlo was going to fight Jorge Highland over the summer. The two of them have never been in the main event. They keep, everyone keeps complaining, they keep getting showcased on Showtime. They've been matched pretty tough the past couple of years, with the exception of Jamal's last fight. But they keep getting stuck in Kofi's spots. It's like Erislan Lara keeps getting the main event over them while they keep getting brought along tough. It's just, it's very bizarre. So, and I get it. Jamel even made a point to mention that, the cameras are following around Lubin. And look, I'm very friendly with the Lubin camp. I'm very biased towards the Lubin camp. I got, no shame in admitting that. Jason Galos is a very good friend of mine. There was a lot of attention. I mean, at least on 2 occasions during the Fox telecast, they made a point to showcase, talk about Erickson Lubin and that he was challenging Jamel Charlo for the title. Not so much that Jamel Charlo was defending the title. So I get why they're angry, but, it's, he claims, Lubin was running his mouth the whole time, and then boxers run their mouth. It's just what you do in the build-up. Mm-hmm. Jamel, he got the great first-round knockout, but it's, just let it end there. You had the boy twitching that fight then. That's the thing you just,
I don't even mean it. I don't
need to spike the ball. Yeah.
Yeah, he looked like when he went down, he looked like he was waiting for a hug. I'm sorry. The Charlos, I've interviewed Jamal Charlo many years ago when I was first starting out. And, as much as we are enjoying them in the ring, they aren't the most scintillating personalities in interviews and when you get them outside of the ring. So to see them go full heel is amazing. Right. And I'm with it. I'm totally down for the heel. Everybody can't be nice. Everybody can't wear a suit. Everybody can't hug and kiss the kids. They have gone so heel. It's so WWE, like, oh my God, I love it. Like the Usos. The Usos aren't even that mean on WWE. But that's what the Charlos have turned, and I'm down. As long as they keep winning, I'm down.
Exactly. I mean, they're both undefeated. And with Jamel, I mean, he has a strong case for, if you're going to start talking about knockout of the year, he has 2 entries now. I mean, because he knocked Charles Hatley the hell out. that was one of my favorite knockouts just because of the way Hatley was, all the crazy stuff he did leading up to that fight. Jamel just let the man make a fool of himself, and then he made him look foolish in the ring. And then now with Lubin, I mean, this is supposed to be the fight of the night. Everyone was saying there's a potential fight of the year candidate based on their styles. And, once again, Jamel just made it look easy. So now he's saying, if I'm not fighter of the year, he calls himself the knockout artist of the year, which isn't actually an award, but he's got 2 entries for knockout of the year right now. I mean, if that doesn't put you on the exciting list, I don't know what will. And like you said, if being just, that chick, go ahead with it.
Hey.
Floyd Mayweather became a billionaire out of, playing the villain role. So if the CHARLOs can find a way to do it, great. Maybe, now they get CBC to pay a little more attention to him. But like you said, now that they got attention on him, they got to know how to deal with the media, too. Because, once, people start asking questions, granted, some questions are just ridiculously dumb. But if you get asked a thought-provoking question and you only give 3-4 words as an answer, it's like one time, I remember I interviewed Jamal. I asked him 5 different questions, as dug as deep as I could, asking questions he's never been asked before. I got maybe 20 words total, and then he's like, "Oh, when's the story coming out?" I'm like, "What the hell you want me to write?"
You got that?
You gave me nothing to work with.
You got that? Well, here's my thing. Here's what I want to know, Jay Donovan. We have looked at the evolution of the CHARLOs now over the past couple years. As people know, they trained down with Ronnie Shields down in Texas. What is the difference between the CHARLOs now and a year ago? Because obviously, as they ascend the ladder, they're fighting more competitive fights. We look at the fights that they've had. They haven't gotten exactly cab drivers in the ring. They've had some competitive bouts, and they're just steamrolling through them. What is Ronnie Shields? What do you think is different about them now? Is it just that anger that's fueling them? Because I don't remember them knocking fools out like this 2 years ago.
Yeah,
they were winning.
That's a part of it. Right. Yeah, it's a part of it. But with Jamel, the big difference is obviously going to Derek James. He's got, Errol Spence in the gym now. Jamal, he's surrounded by Edwin Rodriguez and, Lara. Jamel was surrounded by all that, but maybe it just wasn't a style, trainer, fighter style that worked for him. Going with Derek James has obviously changed him. Anyone that's going to train with Errol Spence full time, you're only going to get better from the experience. So, but I do believe a lot of it is, they feed off that bulletin board material. It's like, if you say stuff to fuel them up, they're going to take it all in the ring. They're finding the right way to channel all their energy. So it's in all their rage, I should say. Yeah, so it's working for them.
Great to see it. It's great. I'm down. They.
Yeah. Hello.
And pre-win. You feel me?
I feel you.
Instead of all that talking leading up to the fight, and then they lose, like a la Broner. They are winning their fights in indecisive fashion. Before we bring on our Hotline Bling guest, because we are at the 8:30 point, let me run a couple more commercials so we can pay some bills. And when we come back, I think we will have our first guest, our only guest today.
Champs Boxing Club and Fitness, bringing the city of Danbury a safe, clean, and professional boxing gym. Located on 128 East Liberty Street, Champs Boxing Club offers you more than 5 trainers who are all either current or former professional and amateur boxers. Look us up online at champsboxingclub.org for a full description on membership rates, discounts, and more about our facility. Also, check us out on social media at Champs Danbury. If you're ready to join, send us an email at cbcdanbury@gmail.com, and we'll get right back to you. Or swing by and visit. We look forward to you joining our team. Come see what all the buzz is all about here at Champs in Danbury, Connecticut.
And we are back. Welcome to the Morning Punch-In Show with RB and Jay. RB is taking the day off. I'm here with Jay Donovan, and let's bring on our first guest, fresh off of his first title defense. Let's bring in Jarret Hurd. Good morning, Jarret Hurd.
Hey, how you doing? Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good to be with you this morning. Congratulations on your victory Saturday night. And you have your trainer, Ernesto Rodriguez, with you on the line this morning, correct?
Yes, he's here.
Hey, good morning, Ernesto. How are you doing? Welcome to the show. Let's get right into Saturday night's victory. Jay Donovan, of course, is on the line with us. And a great victory. We had a chance to watch your fight. We were here in Los Angeles at the StubHub finishing our card. We didn't get to watch your fight, me and a few of the other media members. It was such a hard-fought battle in the early rounds. During those early rounds, as you progressed towards the victory, what was going through your mind as you saw Trout was expected in those early rounds?
Hello,
Jarret? Jarret, can you hear
Hello?
us?
Yes, I
can. Can you hear us? Hello? Oh,
yes.
okay.
Yes, I can.
As you know, in those opening rounds, those are really competitive rounds when it looked like Trout was kind of inching away from you. As you got started into the match, was he what you expected as you prepare, in your preparation for the fight and going into fight night? Did Trout perform as you expected in those early rounds?
Oh yeah, he was definitely what we expected. Like any fight Trout's been in, he's always in the fight. He's always competitive and putting up a great fight. So we knew it was going to be that way, especially while he was fresh in the beginning. And the plan was to eventually come on towards the end of the later rounds, and that's what we ended up doing, and we successfully stopped him as we planned.
There were a lot of stretches in the fight where we saw you fighting with your hands down. I was watching on a pretty small location. What were you thinking?
Well, it's crazy because that's something.
Oh, go ahead.
It's crazy because that's something coaches don't, usually tell you to do, to fight with your hands low like that. But it was actually working for me. The reason that I started doing this because I suffered the headbutt, and I didn't know if I was up on the scorecards or down on the scorecards, and I didn't want the judges to take it to the cards. So I said, man, I got to start moving my head. So I put my hands down and started moving my head a little bit, and I was having some success with it.
With Austin Trout, this is definitely a great win for you. I looked at your social media following the fight. I think it was yesterday. It might have been early this morning. You posted some pictures of your head with the stitching from headbutts. At any time during the fight, did the ref admonish him for headbutting you, or what was going on during those headbutting times?
Yeah, I was actually headbutted twice before the final one when I suffered the cut. We clashed heads twice before that. And, the ref would just say, watch you guys' head. But in the last one, man, it was sliced my eye open.
Was there ever a sense of urgency in the corner that you needed to turn it up notch? Ernesto, I'll address this question to you. In those early rounds, as we saw Austin be really competitive with Jarret, did you ever feel a sense of urgency in telling him he needs to turn it up? Or how were your feelings as you watched those opening 2, 3, 4 rounds?
Well, I understood that we had to pick it up a little bit because Austin Trout was, he was moving around and he was landing some good shots. He was pretty much, in my opinion, I thought he was, still in the rounds towards the end. It was competitive, but he was busy. Once the cut came, I didn't panic because I didn't want Jarret to panic. But I knew that the cut was pretty deep, and Dr. Ragland, a cutman, came in and he started working on it, and he reassured us that he got it. So I stayed calm and I stressed Jarret. I kept saying, Jarret, move your head and work behind the jab. Get in, because I knew he wanted to get in and Landon hit some solid shots, but just work behind the jab. But once Dr. Ragland stopped the bleeding, I think kind of made everybody feel a lot better that the blood wasn't as bad as it looked when he first got cut, because there was blood everywhere. But once he stopped the bleeding, I think it was reassuring that, hey, let's go ahead and go back to work. But at no point in time I showed any panic, because I didn't want Jarret to be panicked.
The result is a win, and that's the result you want. I'll ask you first, Jarret, is there anything you would have done in the fight differently now that it's done? And then Coach Rodriguez, I'll ask you the same thing.
Oh, yes, man. I was just talking to Nesto, my coach, earlier today, about moving my head and things like that, because, in the gym and doing sparring, to be honest with you, I didn't fight anything like that. We went into the fighting for a completely different way. I was kind of using more of my reach and staying on the outside and boxing. But I don't know, when I got in the fight, I just thought I should just keep pressure on him, keep walking forward. But he just wanted me to move my head much more, which I think I still haven't moved my head much more because, I'm still young and I would love to have a long career in this sport and a life after this sport. So, I just wish I moved my head a little more and didn't take so much damage. But, at the end of the day, I was able to show my will and that even through battles like that, I can overcome it and still win it.
And Coach, he's mentioned the head movement as you said. What are there any other elements of the fight you wish your young man would have done differently?
Well, as you stated, during practice, in preparation for the fight, he used his long arms and he used a lot of counter punching to break the sparring partners down, and then he applied the pressure and imposed his will, which is what we wanted to do. So, I'm just hoping that for future fights we could transition just what we did in the gym and not rush into making it so much of a dramatic fight. Although the fans loved it, they want to see that. They want to see blood and they want to see all of that. It's good for TV. But as we, I was talking to him. I want him to use his height. I want him to use his reach. He hits extremely hard, and I think if he set those punches up, using his reach and height, I think that it'll make the fight a lot much easier for him. We'll still get the same outcome, stoppage or knockout, or just a beatdown. But he won't have to be susceptible to getting hit as much, because as competition get better and you get long in the sport, you're gonna fight guys that punch just as hard as you do. They fight just as good as you do, or some of those may box better than you. So you have to use other alternatives than just your will and strength. You have to use more technique and more skills in the mentality, the art of boxing. So that's some things that we have to work on, footwork and technique. And it's not that he doesn't have it, because he does have it. He does it in the gym. Now we just got to get the click from taking it to the gym and to the fight. And he has done it before. We just got to get back on track.
Hey, Swift and Ernesto, this is Jake Donovan. I just had a couple of questions. Ernesto, you mentioned that you always try to stay calm in the corner because you never want Swift to get worried. But do you guys kind of get the sense that fights are as close as it appears to be to the viewers and like the media watch? Because this is like 3 fights in a row. It's like we're all kind of taking our breath, and all of a sudden, Jarret just finds a way to pull it out. So is that like the same view from ringside? And Jarret, even for you, like, do you feel like the same in the ring? Like, is it as close as we think it is, or are you confident that you have everything under control?
I could be able to hear you. I don't know if there was wind in the background. I'm not sure where it's coming from, but you were breaking up. It was like some wind.
I'm sorry about that. No, I just wanted to ask because as you mentioned, like, you always try to stay calm in the corner. You don't want Jarret to worry. But I just wanted to know, like, because it seems there's like 3 fights in a row where like we're all kind of holding our breath, waiting for like just the dramatic shift, and Jarrett's always pulling it out some way. But like, do you guys get those sense too that the fights are as close as like it appears to be to the viewers, or are you just that confident that you're always in control and you're going to find a way to win?
Well, I'm gonna go first before Jarret. Well, from the coach's point, I can see that the fights are close. For instance, this one and the last 2 Tony Hurd, they were close, and I knew that Jarret comes on strong as the fight gets later, his strength kicked in. So I knew that the later rounds we're going to be fine. But I always say, hey, let's not make the first rounds too close, because you just don't know what the judge is looking at, which judge like what. So I wasn't worried as far as for this fight. I wasn't worried because I knew that I saw how hard Austin Trout was fighting and how his work rate was real high. And the reason why, because Jarret was applying the pressure. He was making him actually fight. He just wasn't using the proper defense that we worked on. So for this fight, I wasn't worried at all. I knew Jarret was going to eventually stop him, because I predicted him stopping him in the 10th round, which he did in the 10th round. It was just, the first 4 or 5 rounds, they were just so close. And I thought that Trout had won maybe 3 out of the first 5. And, we didn't want to give away too many rounds, because we knew that he's a skillful boxer, and he could use his legs and move around like he did with CHARLO. Towards the end, he came strong with CHARLO and made a fight so close to the point where some people thought he won. But I did not expect those rounds to be so close. But in the latter rounds, I knew for a fact that Jarret was going to come on and stop him. So, from my point, I mean, Jarret, you may be able to tell him, how you feel about that.
Oh, yeah, and that's what I said. It was almost like we were seeing as the fight going on, Austin Trout was just trying to – he was almost out on his feet, man. He was trying to almost survive. We could see him wearing down. But, even though with him being that tired, he still was a little crafty, use his movement, but we just knew it was only a matter of time before, he finally was weared out. But we know the fight will be close, and we don't know how the judges be viewing them. But we know as the fight get on, I always end up getting stronger, and I carry my power in the later round. So we knew we was eventually going to land and get the job done.
All right, cool. And then I wanted to ask, whose idea was it to bring a net to the fight? I mean, we understood the purpose at the end, who caught a trout, but whose idea was that for the net?
That was my idea.
Okay.
The whole fishing theme, and if we came to catch a trout, man, we wanted to do what many fighters couldn't, and we were successful. I mean, obviously with Austin, that's a fun gimmick, and it's easy to play on that. Going into this fight, was there any kind of statement that you wanted to make, given there was 2 other world title fights on the card, and with that, who would you want to fight next, if it's in fact someone from that show? I mean, it's not all about who I want to fight next. It's more about what makes more sense.
Right.
I have the fight with Cedric Vitu, which is my mandatory. He's a southpaw. So that'll be my second training camp in a row with 2 southpaws. So I might as well go after Lara, so that'd be 3 straight camps with all southpaws. That'll help me prepare for, a more technical, crafty fighter like Lara. So it'll make more sense to go after someone like Lara instead of going after CHARLO and switching back to a right-hander, then trying to, go back to a lefty with Lara. So I think I should go after Lara first.
All right. I mean, everyone thinks he's the best in the world, so I mean, there's certainly no fault in that. And then finally, I don't know what kind of relationship you have with Coach Roach, who unfortunately passed away over the weekend. Just if there's anything you wanted to say about him, just the influence he had in in the whole DMV area.
Oh yeah, man, he had a big influence over in T-Nor's Q's. He was one of the coaches that when he walked in the room, everyone knew his presence was there. Very knowledgeable guy of the sport, and Coach Roach is will be missed, man. And he did a lot for the sport, and you only can say good things about him.
Excellent. Well, Jarret, it has been an absolute pleasure speaking with you. Congratulations on defending your title. Before we wrap it up, what do you think is what's the realistic turnaround time for you? We know that you have the cuts. You mentioned that you like to stay with the direction of going against southpaw. That's brilliant. That didn't even occur to me until you said it. What is a realistic turnaround time for you to get back out there and put the title on the line once more?
Realistically, I'll say sometime next year, probably maybe in February, something like that. I was supposed to fight in December, but I got a 60-day suspension because of the cut. I cannot allow the ring, so I'll say realistically sometime in February when I'll be able to get back in the ring sparring again. Hello.
Yeah.
The victory this time.
I'm sorry.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you a little.
How are you going to celebrate your victory?
Oh man, of course, some person will spend some time with my old lady. She, I spend a lot of time away from her for this camp because this is my longest camp. We're supposed to fight back in July on the Adrian card, so it's been my longest camp, and I'm just going to spend some time with her, maybe take a vacation for her or something like that.
Yeah, social media enjoyed that picture on the screen. So you guys have a ball and enjoy the picture.
All right, thank you so much, and thank you for having us on your show.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, cool. Thank you, sir. Congratulations.
All right, we're going to take a quick commercial. Thank you, Jarret Hurd. We're going to take a quick commercial, and when we be back, we'll be back with some in case you missed the news and we can fight it. We are going to wrap it up for the day.
Any vehicle, any age, any mileage. With Nationwide Auto Warranties, you will stop paying unexpected costly repair bills and let an extended auto warranty pay. Go to nationwideautowarranties.com for an instant email quote or call 1-866-352-4999 for a free, no-obligation phone quote. So stop paying and let Nationwide Auto Warranties get you your coverage today. Again, that number is 1-866-352-4999 or visit nationwideautowarranties.com. John Francis Agency is comprised of dedicated insurance professionals who manage risk, protect wealth, and cater to clients' personal and business needs. We offer disability coverage for boxers as well as life and liability insurance. Career-ending injury insurance along with illness insurance is also offered through our agency. For more information, please visit us online at johnfrancisagency.com or call us today at 732-497-9624. John Francis Agency, our daily grind is protecting your wealth.
All right, and we are back. We've got about 11 minutes left in the show, so I'm going to run through some topics really quick. In case you missed it, news brought to you by our friends at Undeterred. Lavish and quality statement making team. Make sure you go visit them at undeterred.bigcartel.com and make sure you tell them that the Morning Punchin' Show sent you. And in case you missed it, news, Errol Spence, probably one of the most sought-after guys in boxing outside of the ring right now, with a whole nother story. Errol Spence Jr. revealed this weekend during the Showtime broadcast or weekend that he turned down the fight with Miguel Cotto. Why? Because Oscar De La Hoya is in for the long haul. Oscar's been very clear in interviews that he was a big fan of Errol Spence, and in order for him to get the Miguel Cotto fight, he wanted to lock him in to a long-term deal. And this is what Spence had to say about that. Yes, the offer was made from Golden Boy. Everybody's been trying to get me to be their fighter. You name them, they've been trying to get me since I turned pro. I just declined it. I don't want a promoter right now. So Errol Spence, if you're looking to see him, looks like we'll have to wait until next year to see him in the ring once more. Also, in case you missed it, news, the WBA announced that Louis Ortiz will be banned for at least 6 months and removed as Anthony Joshua's mandatory unless he requests a B sample by October 20th. As you may recall, Ortiz tested positive for a banned substance ahead of the fight against Deontay Wilder. He says it was a mistake. He didn't declare some blood pressure medication. So now he has to provide a B sample by October 20th, which is in 4 days, or he loses his spot as Anthony Joshua's mandatory, and he will be banned. So we'll keep an eye on that, and maybe we'll have an update next Monday when we do the show. Also, in case you missed the news, we had all the fighters in the house on the East Coast Saturday night. One-time Keith Thurman. We know one-time Keith Thurman had surgery on his right elbow in April following his marriage. And on Saturday, he says he still has about 4 to 6 weeks of rehab remaining, expects to fight again in early February. Let me see, April. This is October, May, June, July, August, September, October. 6 months ago, he had the surgery on his elbow to reportedly remove calcium deposits. He had this to say about returning to the ring, because if you're getting him to jump in with Errol Spence, so sorry, so sad, it's happening right out the gate. He said, I will be smart. I'm not jumping in the ring after an injury going after another champion. When we go toe-to-toe, it will be the right moment, I believe, for both of us. And that's all I've got to say. That's what Thurman has to say. Thurman also had to say this against a potential fight against undisputed 140-pound champion Terrence Crawford. This must be the love talking. He got married. You want to talk about making him relevant. He does need to make himself relevant in this division. He's a 140-pound undisputed champion. He can come up and this weight and fight pretty much anybody in the top 10. He deserves that for the most part, and I understand that. But we are so flooded with talent, he's going to have to make himself relevant at 147 before he gets his hands on us for the most part. Who this us is that he's referring to, I'm not sure. But basically, he said Crawford is irrelevant at 147. All right. Fair assessment. So lastly, and in case you missed it, new fights that have been made this weekend. Burchout versus Salido, a done deal on December 9th and will be on HBO, according to Steve Kim for Boxing Scene. Dominic Brazil versus Eric Molina was added to the Wilder Stavern undercard. Miguel Cotto versus Saddam Ali has been finalized for December 2nd. And Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. will be returning to action in early December, says his trainer Nacho Berenstein, and it could be at 168 pounds. And I'm sure he is happy about that. Lastly, before we wrap up the show, let me go ahead and give you the win fight schedule. On Thursday from Las Vegas on ESPN2 and ESPN Deportes, Gabe Rosado versus Glenn Tapia for 10 rounds. Whew. It's going to be bloody. Get your tissue ready. In the co-feature, Alejandro Barrera versus Keandre Gibson, and that will be taking place in Las Vegas. Also on Thursday, once again, our girl, non-broadcast fight, but if you're in Durham, go see RB's card. In Durham, North Carolina, Marco Bailey versus Steve Massey in the main event, with Joseph Jackson versus Monreco Goldston in the co-main event. So make sure you go check those out. On Friday on Telemundo from Mexico City, Carlos Ruiz versus Luis Miguel Montano, and Omar Solano Herrera versus Luis Daniel Flores Noberto in the co-feature event. On Saturday on HBO from Verona, New York, Jezreel Corrales versus Alberto Machado for Corrales' WBA junior lightweight title. In the co-main event, Demetrius Andrade, Boo Boo Andrade, makes his return to TV versus Alantes Fox. And also on the card, Demetrius Ballard versus Andrik Sarlugi, all on HBO Saturday night. Also on HBO on the same day tape delay from Belfast, North Ireland, Ryan Burnett versus Zaned Zakayanov in an IBA WBA bantamweight title unification bout. So make sure you pay attention to that because it could have some send some waves through the bantamweight division. In the co-main event, Paul Hyland versus Stephen Ormond. Also happening on Saturday night from Newark, New Jersey. On the Audience Network, World Boxing Super Series continues with Murat Gal, the whole thing in the cruiserweight division for the World Boxing Super Series, versus Krzysztof Wlodarczyk for the Gassiev's IBF cruiserweight title, and also the opportunity to move on. This is a World Boxing Super Series quarterfinal matchup, so tune into that. That's going to be some big powerful blows being launched between the two competitors. And also on the same night from Tijuana, Mexico on BN Sports, Jose Cepeda versus Mike Perez and not the big one, Mike Perez, the junior welterweight, from Tijuana, Mexico on BN Sports. And in a non-broadcast fight, but because it's a title fight and it's a terrific chance, Cecilia Breakus will be fighting against Michaela Lauren, and Breakus is CWA, IBF, WBO, all her welterweight titles be on the line. So that is your weekend fight schedule. You got a lot to tune into if you're going to stay home and watch boxing. So make your picks, tweet with us. I'll probably watch the HBO card. If I can catch some of these other ones, I'll be on Twitter to talk about them with you. Always down to talk about the fights. Today's show was brought to you by Boxing Insider, John Francis Agency, Porter High Performance Center, Nationwide Auto Warranty, Tampa Boxing Club, War Tape Brand, Bernie's Boxing, Red Beach Advisor, the WBC Cares, and also Undeterred. Make sure you check me out on badculture.net, badculture.tv. Make sure you visit RagingBabe.com. If you haven't liked Raging Babe on Facebook, make sure you do so you can see all the activities from her fight in Durham, North Carolina. And we thank you for listening today. Shout out to my amazing, amazing friend and co-host, Jake Donovan, for holding it down with me. We'll be back next Monday from 8 to 9. It's the Morning Punching Show. We thank you for listening, and we are out.